Sharkie Gamer here. So today we're taking a look at the Medal of Honor Warfighter Limited Edition AirFlo controller. This is made by PowerA and it's made for the PlayStation 3. So as you can see, this comes in a display type packaging, so you can sort of take a sneak peek at the controller within. Now on the packaging itself, first up the top there, it says AirFlo Patented Cooling Fan Technology. Moving down, you've got the Medal of Honor Warfighter logo with some artwork from the game as well. And just down there it says includes 4 collectible pins, which are these pins just here, and they look pretty cool. You've got the PowerA logo just there. Turning onto the side of the box, you've got some more logos. As well, up the top there it says AirFlo Patented Cooling Fan Technology. Of course, you've got the logo again, and below that it says keep your grip cool in the heat of battle. Same thing on the other side of the box. The bottom is pretty plain. Moving on to the back of the box. Down the side here you've got different languages of just the main features. And then in the center here you've got sort of the main features of the controller. So LED on-off button, dual speed fan control, illuminated action buttons, soft touch grips, illuminated vents, dual rumble motors. And in the center there it says patented fan and vent technology, circulates cooling air to your hands. Okay, so let's go ahead now and open this up and take a closer look at this controller. I'm just going to pull everything out first, and then we'll take a look at the contents. So first up, you got some paperwork, so you got a little warranty statement there, and you get this sort of brief manual, all in different languages, and it just goes through your basic functions, features, connecting, etc. So not too much in there. So first up, you get these 4 collectible pins. So they look pretty cool. They got the Moa logo just there, and they got sort of different animals on them. Very nice detail in them. And these are metal. I'll try to pull one of these out. On the back they've got that kind of connection there, so you can connect them to your shirt. And on the back it just says Medal of Honor, which I don't know if I'll be able to get that in focus. But just there it says Medal of Honor. And it's got the pins. And then of course in the front it's got the different kind of badges. So it's quite a cool little extra collectible that they include. Alright, so on to the controller. So first, what are the main features of it? Well, it's for PS3, but it also works for PC. The cable itself is USB and it's 3 meters long, so it should be long enough to go to your console or however you've got your console set up. Now it's got LEDs, dual rumble motors, as well as a cooling fan, which I'll get into those features and more in a moment. So first up, this is a themed controller, so it's themed based on the Medal of Honor Warfighter. So it's got this kind of brown, sort of desert, I guess you could say, kind of theme. Got the Medal of Honor Warfighter logo just there, and you can see it's got that kind of brown, sandy kind of look to it. So like I mentioned before, it's a USB connection, but the USB cable also has one of those inline releases in the center there. Now, if you haven't noticed already, this controller setup, the way the buttons and sticks are laid out, I actually designed after the Xbox controller. You can see the sticks are like this instead of right next to each other like your typical PS3 controller. But they've designed it like the Xbox, but in the PS3 controller shape. So this is shaped just like your traditional PS3 controller. Now on the sides here, you've got this kind of soft grip on it, just to provide you a little bit of tactile grip while you're holding the controller, while the rest of the controller is pretty smooth. Now you've got two analog sticks, and they also click down. Now these sticks do have some nice grip, which I'm not sure I'll be able to get that, but I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's actually some nice kind of grip on top there, so it gives you a bit of kind of grip when you're holding it, so it's not going to easily slip out when you're actually using it. And of course it clicks down nice and easily as well, and these work pretty good. You got a D-pad just here, and the D-pad is pretty hard, but it works alright. Up here you've got your function buttons, and they're pretty responsive. Moving in to the center here, which I'll try getting better focus. So in the center here you've got your home button, start, and select. And now moving up, you've got a button up here which is your LED control, so turning your LEDs on and off, and this button up here which is your fan speed selector, which goes from low to high to off. And they're both at the top there, out of the way, so you don't accidentally press them. Now of course this does have a built-in cooling fan in here, which I'll get more into details in a moment, but the bottom line of the cooling fan is it's meant to circulate air through these vents on the side to keep your hands nice and cool. So if you get sweaty hands, the fan is to kind of prevent that, so you don't have a problem gripping the controller for long kind of playthroughs. Now first, let's go into the LEDs and let's see what they look like. So I'm just going to plug this into USB to get power to the controller. Okay, so first up at the top here, this is your LED button. If you press that, the LEDs will come on. If you press it again, it'll turn it off. So the LEDs light up these buttons here. They look pretty cool. So straight off the bat, it does look pretty cool when it lights up, and when it's off, it's totally dark. Now on the sides here, these vents light up as well, which gives a kind of cool kind of look to it, and that kind of reflects against your hand if you're holding it. And the function buttons are nice and clear once they lit up. If the LED is off, you can't even see what function button is which one. But if you have it on, you can see exactly which button does what. And this does look pretty cool in the dark, so you can easily see it. Now moving on to the fan. So the fan is this next button here. So the idea is you press it once, it's low, you press it again, it's high, and you press it again, it turns it off. So the built-in fan inside this thing allows cooling of your hands while playing. So if you play a lot of games and you find your hands get sweaty after a while, and you find you don't want to slip off the controller or it just gets annoying for you, then this is where the cooling fan technology comes into play. The idea of it is it blows cool air onto your hands so that your hands don't get hot and sweaty, and that way it gives you better grip for longer playthroughs. You can play longer and it keeps your hands cool, which in theory is a very good idea. So it's a very kind of good idea that they've had with it. Of course, the AirFlo technology has been around for a while. There's been several other controllers that have also used AirFlo technology, which I'll probably do a review of eventually. But the AirFlo is basically just to keep your hands cool. So, the first off, with the fans being in this controller, means the controller has to be cabled. This is because it needs the extra power to power the fan. This is why it's cabled and not just a wireless controller, because it needs the extra power to power that fan. And I would say if you had batteries, the fan would just chomp up your battery power very quickly. Now if you saw that just there, I'll just mention it, the LED's just turned off. That's because it's got like a 90-second, I think it's about 90 seconds where it actually just turns off automatically if you're not using it. So it'll turn those LEDs if you're not using it. So just turn them off now. Now, with the fan itself, it adds quite a bit more weight to the controller. It's actually placed in the back here. This extra little kind of area here is where the fan is actually in the controller, and it kind of turns on. From there it blows air into these side vents, which in turn blow on to your hands. So you got a vent there, vent on the side, and a vent on the top there. So you've got 3 vents on either side and the fan in the back there as well. So it kind of blows air into the sides of the controller. Now, if we turn it on, the first thing you'll notice, and I'll just put it by the microphone, you can probably hear that kind of fan blowing. And there's air coming out the sides here, I can feel it. Just turn that on again. And you'll notice this little LED here is gone red, which means on low setting. If we press it again, it'll go blue, and now the fan is on high setting. And I've put it right up by the microphone there so you can actually hear it. I'm not sure if you can or not. But that is the sound it makes when it's on the high fan setting. So it's quite noisy. I can very clearly hear all the sound of the air coming out of this controller. You can hear the fan spinning. And holding it, I can clearly feel air coming out of these vents onto my hand. I can clearly feel it. And if you press that again, it turns the fan off. So I'm just going to put this to the microphone again to give you a kind of a sound hearing, and hopefully you can hear this. This is completely off, of course. This is low setting. This is high setting. And that's off. So hopefully you can hear that. The high setting is really noisy. I mean, you can clearly hear it. You know, it's a fan, so you're gonna hear it. It's audible. Even on low setting, you can still hear the fan. So noise does come into play with this controller because the fan basically does make a lot of noise when it's actually blowing air. Now, first, while you're using it with the fan, so if I turn that on just to illustrate, when you're holding it, if you hold your controller really tightly, which some people do this, especially when they're in the heat of a battle or the heat in the moment and they need to hold it tightly to get good grip, they find they hold it tight even if they're not aware of it. Now, the first thing about this with these vents, if you hold your controller tightly, you're going to more likely block those vents, right? So if you hold it like this, I'm pretty much blocking all those vents. I turn the fan on to low, I can feel the fan even when I'm holding it. I'm holding this pretty tightly right now. This is not probably what I would normally play like, but you can see I'm blocking all those vents and I can barely feel that fan. You can sort of feel a little bit, even on high. I can barely feel the air coming out. To feel the air and to benefit from that air coming and cooling down your hands, you actually have to hold the controller lightly and almost lift your hands away from the grips a little bit. Because what that does is it actually circulates basically air from there and there and there, and it circulates, and if you're away from the controller a little bit, your whole hand starts to feel that air. Like, I can feel that air quite comfortably now, and it's cooling down my hands. I can feel it. It's pretty cold, nice kind of cold air coming out of the controller. Now on low setting, you don't really feel it as much. You feel it a little bit, but high setting is where you really feel that nice kind of cool air coming on your hands. But like I say, you got to grip your controller fairly lightly. If I hold it too tight, I can barely feel that fan. Barely at all feel that fan. So you can look at it as a downside, upside. If you hold it quite nice lightly, you'll get nice cool hands and it won't sweat as much. But then if you grip your controller tighter, then the fans don't really do much at all, and there's probably no point of even having them turned on. So yeah, that's probably one of the things about the fans. And of course the biggest thing is, of course, noise. The noise level of the fan will irritate some, and other people will be able to bear it. But you know, if you've got a noisy console as well, like some PlayStation 3s have really noisy fans in them, I know mine, PS3 has a fan that sometimes gets kind of noisy after playing for a while, then this kind of adds to that noise level. So unless you've got headphones or you've got speakers that have nice volume, then it might get on your nerves. But then of course you can turn the fan off, especially if you grip the controller, then you should just turn the fan off anyway. So moving away from the fan, into performance. So as a controller, how does this perform? Well, it performs as you would expect a controller to perform. The functions all work pretty nicely. Grips on the stick, like I said, is pretty nice. That extra grip there makes it feel like you're not going to slip off really easily, so that's quite a nice thing. Triggers on the back, they perform well. This trigger down here for your main shooting and everything like that, it feels quite nice. It's very responsive, but I find it could use some improvement. Like, it almost feels a bit too soft, so if they can improve the feel a bit of it. I tend to like those triggers that tend to click a little bit more, because they feel a bit more responsive. Even though these are pretty responsive just like they are, they just feel a bit too soft in my opinion. All the function buttons here are pretty responsive. When you press them, it happens straight away, so everything is pretty responsive in that regard. D-pad, the D-pad's pretty hard. It still responds, but you do have to press fairly hard to get it to respond. So it is a bit harder than what it probably should do. Now the grip of the controller, the way you hold it, it's not bad. Like, what you'll find is you'll have to put one finger over that little fan area there instead of down here, because I find it's a bit too cramped with that extra kind of box where the fan is. So the easiest way I find to hold it is to hold it like that, where your fingers are like that in the center. And of course you can get it, of course if you want those up there, you can do that as well. But otherwise, if you grip it the normal way of having all your fingers down here, it gets a bit cramped. And also I feel like when they designed this, they wanted to design it like the Xbox controller with those sticks like that, but they designed it in the PS3 kind of mold, which they didn't really think about how it would affect comfortability, especially with that extra fan box there. Because the grips are comfortable, like you can get comfortable eventually with it, but in terms of the way these sticks are, it would have been much better to have the normal PlayStation layout. Because I feel like this thumb here, I've got to stretch a little bit or move my hand down the grip a little bit to get more comfortable. So I don't think they really thought out the PS3 controller shape versus the Xbox 360 kind of layout. But it is comfortable. I mean, you can get eventually used to it. It's not hugely uncomfortable, but it could use a little bit improvement. But overall, it's a good quality controller. It works well. The fan noise will let you down probably a little bit during play, especially if you have it on that high setting, because I mean it gets pretty loud. It does get pretty loud. And as far as the fans go, I mean, this controller probably could have gone without the AirFlo fans. They don't give that much advantage, especially if you kind of over grip your controller, because then you'll get no advantage whatsoever with the fans. If you do lightly grip your controller, then absolutely the fans will help you cool your hands down a bit, and probably will avoid your kind of sweaty hands if you tend to find you get sweaty hands from gripping the controller. But just don't grip it too quite tightly, because otherwise the fans are pretty useless. The LEDs do make it look pretty cool, because if the LEDs are off, it's pretty dark. With the LEDs on, the controller does look pretty cool, and it's really nice and easy to see at night. So of course this is most ideal for a modern a Warfighter, Medal of Honor, I'll get it right, Medal of Honor Warfighter fan. If you're a fan of Medal of Honor, then this controller would be ideal for you. And of course, the little pins that they give is included kind of collectible kind of bonus, so it's a pretty cool little extra that they give. Of course, you don't have to use it, you could just put them on display or something, but it's a cool little bonus they give with the controller. So overall, it is a very good controller. It has the AirFlo technology, and like I say, if you hold it a certain way, you will get the benefits of AirFlo and cool down your sweaty hands, or just hot hands if you have that. But this won't suit all players. And I mean, I think most people that will end up buying this thinking the AirFlo will help them, they'll probably end up not using the fans at all. So it's kind of one of those things that some people will love the fans, and other people either get irritated by the noise, or because they grip the controller too much and they'll just turn the fans off altogether. So I guess most people that will buy this will be fans of the Medal of Honor series. which, I mean, it is quite a cool little collectible, quite a cool little Medal of Honor controller. It looks cool, and I guess they could have implemented quite a few things a bit better, but I mean, overall, great controller, and very interesting design, and how they've included the AirFlo into this particular controller. So you guys, that was the Medal of Honor Warfighter Limited Edition AirFlo controller for the PlayStation 3. Thanks for watching, guys. I am Sharkie Gamer. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll have heaps more gaming controller and accessory videos up very shortly. If you like this video, hit that like button. Really helps out a lot, guys. And as always, feel free to leave a comment down below. And of course, share and favorite the video, as that helps spread my video around. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.